mic is... Oh, are we... Oh, we're recording. Come on in. It's the perfect way to end an imperfect week. It's the perfect way to end an imperfect week. It's East Nashville Happy Hour with our guest, Thompson. Right on the wings of the angels of love who are on our side. It's the perfect way to say we love you. Happy Friday, music fan. Happy Friday, music fans. It's East Nashville Happy Hour. Ooh. Okay, good enough. The Orb of Truth, as mentioned, as titled by Terry Rickards last week. It's the Orb of Truth. Welcome to East Nashville Happy Hour. We've got Alan Thompson here. Yes. Oh, he looks so good. The hair, glasses.
Took a shower and everything for this.
Took a shower. Yeah. I want to start off this week with our segment, Map It Out. I don't know where you were born. I don't know where you're from. Where were you born?
I was born in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay, from Roanoke, Virginia, you went to?
So I stayed there pretty much through college and then moved to Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond?
And was there for about 3 years before I came here.
Okay.
Basically,
really?
Yeah.
Those 3?
Yeah, that's it.
And how long have you been in Nashville?
I've been here for 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened.
When I first got here 5 years ago, you were doing the Last Waltz thing, and that was that's all I heard about. That was the biggest thing. You'd been doing that.
This was our...
How long?
6th year. It's been crazy just to watch that grow.
Yeah, and it happens every year at the 5 spot.
Although Basement East the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But prior to that, it was
at
the 5 spot.
It's one of the premier events in Nashville to recreate the Last Waltz.
This last year was so fun, and I'm so scared as to how we're going to be able to top it.
You hit the music industry not only as a player, but yeah, I mean, I've seen you out on the road tour managing. I've seen your talent buyer, you're a show promoter. You kind of hit it from all angles, right?
I have a really short attention span, and so I have to be really busy. I think if I had sat down and thought about doing any of these jobs, I would have been not wanted to do any of it. But but I'm glad that I have. It's hard for me to say no to anything, so I always have 7 jobs.
I don't remember where I heard it the first time, but I've heard you referred to as the Mayor of East Nashville, right? I mean, and judging by how many pots you have your hands in, that would make some sense.
Yeah, I think ubiquitous is probably a word you could use to describe me.
If there is an event that has a bunch of different artists, a benefit or the tribute nights that are popular, you are there. You are there representing all kinds of different genres. Seems like you are one of the folks who are kind of the pillar of those events. If you're not there, then it's kind of weird.
I'm so thankful that that my phone still rings for stuff like that, because it's the most fun. Just material that I'm not used to doing, that I being able to get up there with all those people who are just so talented and do that is such a treat, man. We are putting out a record at the end of May that's been a pretty long time coming. It's called Brace Yourself, and it's we went into the studio at the end of 2015, right after Clint, Maine, and I had sort of finally gotten recovered from our simultaneous broke back situation.
I wasn't sure. Wait a minute. Not broke back.
Broken back.
Broken back.
Back. Let's. Yeah. Well, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna bring that up, but if you want to.
I mean, yeah, it's a thing that happened, to both of us.
Alan and one of his guitar players, Clint Main, also an awesome lead guitar player, plays for a bunch of people, but has always been playing with you, and you broke your backs a month apart.
Yeah.
You broke yours diving.
Yep, out at Percy Priest Lake. Just jumped off the cliff and came out of the water with a broken back.
Somebody said, if everybody was jumping off a cliff, would you? And you said, yeah, sure.
I said, of course I would. It's so funny because I'm always like the biggest nerd when it comes to like doing that kind of stuff. I'm always the guy that's like, guys, are you sure we should do this? This doesn't seem safe. And so, of course, I'm the guy that ends up, And I remember being in the emergency room, and one of the nurses was like, how high was the jump? And I said, probably about 15 feet. And the girl I was dating at the time was like, yeah, it was closer to 50, bud. And I was just like, okay, well, that explains it.
Wow, and then there were many months of recovery.
Many months, yeah.
But Clint then was working in a tree somehow.
Yeah, he was doing tree work, and he went to jump a branch when he probably should have climbed down and got a different rope and then come back up. And the rope just like went out on him, and he fell like 30 feet. And he hit the ground, which I'm sure was awful.
How many people do you know who have broken their backs? I now know 2, but before that I knew nobody. Yeah. And you guys did it. Buddies did it a month apart.
Well, and not just that, like that whole summer, like the same day as I got hurt, Tommy Womack got in that accident and busted his back. Phil Kaufman, around the same time as Clint, got in his motorcycle wreck. And there was like 4 or 5 of us, all within like a week of each other. It was insane.
Was everybody kind of walking around gingerly? Who's next?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, man. But it's over with.
Oh, yeah.
Now you've got an album coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called again? Brace Yourself?
Brace Yourself.
Brace Yourself. A little,
fitting.
Perhaps a little
dad joke for you.
There you go. Do you have a big album release kind of a thing going?
Well, we've got some dates this summer, and we're going to be doing a few things in town that last week in May. Gig at Basement on the 27th of May, and then a few other things that we'll be announcing sooner rather than later.
When did you decide? When did you have the musical epiphany that you were going to not only just be a music fan, but be a musician and to be totally immersed in? You're not just kind of dabbling. It's your life. So
I don't know.
Was there any one time?
That
you can think of.
One of my very first memories is, my folks got divorced when I was like 4 or 5. And like both my parents just sort of like disappeared for like a year. And I was being raised by my maternal grandparents, which is awesome because grandparents let you do whatever you want. My dad finally like showed up, and he had like this it was like the first time like I'd seen him in almost a year. And he had just come back from seeing Steve Earle at the Flood Zone in Richmond, and was just like going crazy about what the show and how amazing it was. And
You're 6 years old?
Yeah, 6 years old, and he played me Guitar Town. That was probably the first moment when I was like, damn, I want to do that. Like just seeing the way Steve Earle's words and music were affecting my father, and, being able, like, that was the first time I had an understanding that you could communicate via music and say things that you can't look someone in the eye and say face to face.
Wow.
You could just do so much more with it. And I never kind of stopped wanting to explore that after that day.
Pretty musical family? Do you have brothers, sisters?
I have an aunt who lives here in town, and she's a music therapist.
Ooh.
And she hosts a radio show.
Oh.
And
I did not know that.
She was around a good bit when I was a baby, and she always, had the guitar and everything. But other than me and her, that's pretty much it. My mom's parents were huge music fans, and my granddad just schooled me on everything, like, you know, from old country to jazz to, you know, he loved everything. And so it's like I spent a lot of time with him listening to records, but in terms of like other people with musical aspirations or anything in my family, it's pretty much just me and Robin.
Being a kid, a lot of times with your parents and with your grandparents, you just want to find something in common with them. You want to like what they like, right? And, you know, thankfully, if you have someone who's going to give you something really cool from the get-go, I mean, that's going to stay with you. Your dad could have come home with, you know, a bread record, right? And you could be like singing like David Gates at, you know, some cabaret somewhere right now.
I mean,
memory, you know?
You're absolutely right.
Who says Alan doesn't do that too? In his
I've been known to. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I did get really lucky in that sense. Like my father just had like super bitchin' record collection, and there was always just really cool stuff to listen to. He had the Beginnings, which is like the first two Allman Brothers records, but like when it was reissued as like a box set, and like just God, listening to that over and over and over again, and like, you know, my aunts and stuff will tell me that like I would sit the coffee table up like it was a B3 and just like playing along and like, you know.
And you probably still listen to those records.
Oh yeah,
you know, it never gets old. I know Dean's dad, Steve Moore, was a huge Kiss fan, and I got Dean into Kiss. Right?
No. The one thing my dad did get me into was Creedence Clearwater Revival, so I give you credit for that, Dad. Anyway.
You can't beat CCR. So good.
So that's, I mean, if you're going to pick one to get me into. They also had one Beatles record. One. Should we move to the trivia?
Yeah, let's give them the trivia.
Okay.
I have to tell a story about this real quick. This is the first time this has happened. Oh, there it is. Wait, Thoroughfare Gap.
By the way, I just want to mention that the best part of the show happened outside on the porch when we were just talking music, and these guys were melding their minds about every piece of music trivia ever. So you're not going to get to see that. I'm sorry.
I had known that Alan, we had spoken about the Grateful Dead in the past, and I knew him as a super knowledgeable dude. But just from the first 5 minutes of him being here, I went back and rewrote my questions because I realized that they were all just going to be huge grapefruits floated up for him to smash. Half Dead, half Laurel Canyon scene trivia.
Okay.
All right. Pigpen McKenzie played his last show with the Dead at this venue in 1972. If you want options, I can give them to you. If you want choices.
Man, last show with them, they were home. It wasn't Europe.
They were home.
It was at the Hollywood Bowl.
It's the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need the choices. Jerry, Bob, and Pigpen were in this band prior to the Grateful Dead.
Mother McCree's Uptown Drug Champions.
This is just not even close.
It's educational for
It
people
is.
watching, though. So you're doing
Bill
us a service.
Kreitzman, Phil Lesh, and Mickey Hart provided some of the music for this Francis Ford Coppola 1979 film.
Apocalypse Now.
Not even a second of hesitation. Long Branch Penny Whistle was a band composed of these two country rock legends.
Glenn Frey and J.D. Souther.
And these are the revised questions. Who sings all the vocal harmonies on Jackson Browne's first solo record? Sometimes called Saturate Before Using, but that's probably not true. We were just talking about this man.
Jackson Brown.
Right.
Is it Glenn Frey?
No. It is David Crosby.
Ah, of course it is.
Speaking of Crosby, which band did he bring into the studio to be his main backup band for his first solo record?
The Grateful Dead.
Obviously. Here's the last one. You ready?
Love Gun by Kiss.
Another Crosby, Stills, and Nash question. And this one's a tough one.
Okay.
David Crosby's voice was added to this record later, which was initially supposed to be a Stephen Stills and Graham Nash solo record.
Oh man, it's the record with Southern Cross on it.
That's correct.
And I can't remember the name of the record to save my life.
I can give it to you. He got the right record. It's Daylight Again.
Daylight Again.
You did phenomenally well.
As we do each week, if our guest gets anywhere from 0 to all of Jay's trivia questions correct, we donate 25% of our tip jar earnings to the charity of the guest's choice.
I would like to donate to Music Cares if we can.
There you go. That's 2 weeks in a row. And that makes a lot of sense because they were helping you during the tough months of the recovery.
Clint and I both. They took really good care of us.
And I just keep hearing the best stories from all kinds of different people. So now we don't have a tip jar yet. We still haven't gotten one. We'll figure it out though. We are putting a little money towards each charity, but eventually we'll get our shit together and figure out how that's going to work. Why don't we move to the couch now and hear some music?
All right.
You still want to play some music for us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet.
That's fucking hilarious.
Anyway, this move to the couch was not sponsored by Red Brick Brewery. Is that what's it called? Laughing Skull. We had really good...
Paid sponsors.
Alan and I shared a Laughing Skull from Red Brick Brewery, so they kind of sponsored us, even though they didn't really sponsor us because we gave them money. They didn't give us money, but that's okay. That's all going to change. I also tried to get High Garden to non-sponsor us and get Alan some kombucha from there, but then they weren't open. So open earlier, but other than that, we love High Garden. And we're about to listen to some Alan Thompson, okay. I don't know. Alan Thompson.
This song's called Seasick. There's a lady down the street. She drops by to check on me from time to time. We chat over coffee about the clouds gathering in our minds. She smiles when it's time to leave, turns her brown eyes to her feet and takes another pull from a fancy cigarette. She pets the dogs, wraps her arms around them like she may not come back. We're all seasick from sailing through this storm we don't understand. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We're almost on dry land. I can hear her singing through the whistles and the sirens and the city life outside. It's comforting to hear her voice and know I am at home. She relies on her senses, and her senses never seem to steer her wrong. She knows what to say to remind me I'm not alone. We're all seasick from sailing through this storm we don't understand. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We're almost on dry land. Sometimes we need our friends. Life is hard, we are not meant to do this on our own. Everybody needs someone to come along, show them they are loved. And we're all seasick from understand. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We're almost on dry land. We're all seasick from sailing through this storm. We don't understand. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We're almost on dry land. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We're almost on dry land. We're closer than we realize to the shore. We are almost on dry land.
So beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So beautiful.
Gone out of his way to like keep himself as tapped in as possible and like be a part of this thing he created. You know, it's just so admirable, so cool to watch.
It's we cannot record video. Hold on, sorry.
He was at this vintage clothing store and they had his cape.
The cape that he when he used to wear the fucking cape with the
And he did like,
wait, the actual cape?
Yes.
What the fuck?
and he got a picture with it and it's just like the cutest thing ever. He's just smiling big as shit.
How is that shit not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Like just look at that smile. Look how happy he is. Dude, this thing looks like serious business, man.
Dude, it really is. That thing's got hands like it glows red, like just to warm you.
You want to try that out?
I kinda do, yeah.
Try it out, dude. Just hit the middle button there and it'll start going.
Oh, buddy. Oh, dude. This is killer.
Hey, Alan loves your back.
This is changing my whole life, man. oh man, this is so great.
It's East Nashville Happy Hour with our guest, Thompson.
Yeah, I want to hear the Black Queen.
Oh yeah, so he's playing Black Queen, and you can hear it on the end when it gets done. And Crosby's like,
So long, folks, and thanks, Harry.
See you next episode, everybody.
Bye.